One minute, Shannon Sharpe stood on the brink of a 9-figure content empire. The next, headlines screamed that a 19-year-old had sued him for $50 million, accusing the Hall of Famer of brutal assaults and twisted power plays. Was it the cost of climbing too high, or the perfect trap sprung by forces determined to yank him back to earth? Keep watching, because the evidence, the hush money offer, and a surprise warning from Dave Chappelle paint a picture wilder than anything you've seen on Club Shay Shay. April 20th, 2025. Without a hint of pre-game warm-up, a civil complaint lands in Nevada court. The plaintiff, identified only as Jane Doe, claims her brief relationship with 56-year-old Shannon Sharpe turned into a nightmare of choking threats and secret recordings. She wants a jury to decide whether those encounters were assaults, and she wants $50 million for the damage. The filing reads like a thriller script. 2 encounters stand out. One, an October 6th, 2024 episode where she says he pinned her, forced oral contact, then crossed the last line. The other, January 2nd of this year, when she alleges it happened all over again. 10 agonizing minutes she claims left her crying and begging him to stop. In between, she says, he brandished a handgun during an argument, recorded intimate moments without permission, and bragged he could ruin her for any future partner. Within hours, Houston attorney Tony Buzbee, fresh from headline hunts involving Diddy and an attempted swing at Jay-Z, steps in front of cameras, smiling like a boxer's ring walk. Buzbee insists the evidence is unignorable, hinting at audio that will make America gasp. Yet Sharpe's camp fires back instantly, calling it a blatant shakedown. But Buzbee's track record, and Sharpe's next move, raise the first eyebrow. Tony Buzbee is Texas litigation's loudest megaphone. He won fame prying multi-million-dollar settlements out of Deshaun Watson's camp, and critics say his favorite arena is the court of public opinion. In the Sharpe complaint, he deploys the same play: drop bombshell allegations, promise receipts, let social media light itself on fire. One of those receipts surfaces as a 30-second audio clip. The voice, unmistakably Sharpe's baritone, growls, "Say it again, and I'll choke the life out of you." The tape doesn't reveal context, but it's enough to fuel headlines for days. Buzbee claims that's just the warm-up. The unedited file, he hints, is even worse. Sharpe's lawyers counterpunch. The tape is sliced, diced, and yanked out of a consensual role-play fantasy that both parties enjoyed. And they add a kicker. Before the lawsuit, Sharpe tried to settle peacefully, offering at least $10 million during formal mediation. If you're innocent, viewers ask, why reach for the checkbook? Sharpe's camp says it was cheaper than the smear campaign they knew was coming. Buzbee calls it proof of guilt, and at this point, Sharpe decides silence is the enemy. Baseball caps turned backward, voice tight but steady. Sharpe hits Instagram Live and talks to 2.4 million followers as if they're teammates in the locker room. Family, supporters, colleagues, this is a shakedown, he says, trimming out every syllable that might get flagged. I'm fighting back with transparency. He names names. Tony Buzbee targets black men, he insists, citing Buzbee's public jabs at Jay-Z and Diddy. He dares Buzbee to drop the entire 10-minute video, unedited, raw, no jump cuts. He claims the encounter happened in daylight, at the woman's invitation, and labels the $50 million demand extortion in legalese. Behind Sharpe sits a wall of memorabilia: Hall of Fame bust, 3 Super Bowl rings, a framed first take press pass, symbols of success, and some say juicy targets for anyone chasing a payday. ESPN takes notice. Within a week, the network announces Sharpe will step back from First Take and his podcast duties until further notice. Critics ask why the sports giant moved so slowly. Insiders whisper Disney's lawyers needed time to gauge the blast radius. But while the studio lights dim, another voice, one with a Netflix special and a reputation for calling Hollywood's bluff, emerges from the shadows. Word spreads that Dave Chappelle had phoned Sharpe weeks earlier, right after Club Shay Shay's sit-down with Cat Williams shattered YouTube records. Chappelle's warning was blunt: when you shine that bright, the industry finds a dimmer switch. Friends say Sharpe chuckled, then promised to keep receipts. Now, Chappelle reportedly tells confidants, I hate being right. Chappelle has long suggested that enormous deals, Mariah Carey's $100 million contract, Martin Lawrence's studio breakout, often coincide with sudden PR meltdowns that make the artist look unstable. He calls it the Hollywood tripwire, invisible until you trip it, unavoidable once you do. Sharpe's rumored $100 million digital network deal, Chappelle notes, was inching toward signature when the Nevada filing detonated. To many fans, the timing feels scripted. Outspoken black host spotlights, whistleblowers like Cat Williams and Monique, audience numbers skyrocket, corporate money lines up, then a lawsuit appears with near cinematic drama. Conspiracy? Coincidence? A bit of both? Social media splits in two, and the debate turns personal. On X, one post racks up 8.6 million views in 2 hours. A 56-year-old millionaire hooking up with a teen OnlyFans model is wild. Lawsuit or not. Another bluntly writes, "Lack of discipline will have you out here looking crazy." Screenshots of Sharpe praising clean living quotes resurface alongside images of the plaintiff's adult content profile. Sharpe defenders fire back with their own thread. Deshaun Watson, Trevor Bauer, now Shannon Sharpe, all, they argue, targeted by Tony Busby for big-ticket settlements. They flood Busby's Instagram comments with snake emojis and ha shakedown tags. The brawl spills into sports talk. Stephen A. Smith wishes his debate partner well, but admits sponsors get jumpy around sexual misconduct headlines, even unproven ones. Audience retention numbers dip on First Take reruns without Sharpe's trademark laugh. And as the online shouting escalates, attention drifts to the numbers behind the fury. Just 6 months ago, insiders whispered that Sharpe, fresh off signing with Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions, was negotiating a venture that could merge Club Shay Shay, a streaming docuseries, and a live event tour under one slick umbrella. Price tag north of $100 million. That future now hangs on legal calendars. If the case proceeds, Discovery could pry open private DMS, raw video, and every settlement email. Sponsors weigh risk, and some quietly insert morality clause language into draft contracts. For the plaintiff, victory means a life-changing sum and a public statement heard far beyond sports circles. For Busby, it's another notch on a belt already crowded with celebrity scalps. But for Sharpe, a loss could vaporize 2 decades of media hustle in a single verdict. Yet his lawyer, Lanny Davis, is convinced it won't reach trial. Once the full context is revealed, he promises, this collapses. He hints at hundreds of texts where the accuser begged Sharpe to choke her with a collar and plant a legacy, graphic phrases the team claims prove consensual fantasy. Davis calls the accusations a gross lie, vowing scorched earth countersuits for defamation. But scorched earth scorches both sides, and the next twist may depend on whether a judge orders the full tape unsealed. Nevada courts move slower than breaking news cycles, but a scheduling conference is already penciled in for mid-July. That's when Busby must identify which unedited video and medical records back his claims. And when Davis will move to dismiss counts he calls fantasy literature. Legal analysts say judges rarely toss such cases outright. More often, both camps fight for months, then quietly negotiate a dollar figure neither side likes but both can live with. But Sharpe is no ordinary defendant. His brand is built on blunt honesty, skip, and walking away with a check, even a sealed one, could look like a silent admission. Sources close to ESPN say executives fear exactly that, the optics of a payout. Right now, Sharpe's fortune, Busby's reputation, the accuser's future, and a comedian's dark prophecy all converge on one question. Who controls the narrative when a voice that rose from rural Georgia to television superstardom suddenly faces its most dangerous opponent yet? And if you think you know the answer, rewind, because every day brings a fresh leak, a new denial, and another shadowy whisper that the real story still lurks off camera. So, is Shannon Sharpe the latest target of a backstage power machine that slaps down outspoken black voices the moment they threaten $1 billion status quo? Or is this the inevitable fallout when ego, opportunity, and questionable judgment collide in a Las Vegas courtroom? The hush money offer, the mystery tape, and Dave Chappelle's eerie warning guarantee the next chapter won't stay hidden for long. Drop your take below. Corporate conspiracy or self-inflicted implosion? And buckle up, because if Discovery unseals that full 10-minute video, the fallout could rewrite not just Sharpe's legacy, but the playbook for every athlete-turned-media mogul chasing that elusive 9-figure deal. Until then, stay curious. The real shock may still be waiting in the edit room.